Anybody need any more time? Okay. Now ask yourself a why question based on the answer to number 3 and write it down. If you said financial freedom was important, why is financial freedom important? What would that mean to your family? What would that mean to you? Does anybody need more time? Okay, again, we're going to ask yourself a why question based on your answer to number 4 and write that answer down. Maybe you said we could stop worrying about debt. Why does that matter? Why is it important to be out of debt? Maybe you could concentrate on the moment. Maybe it would relieve some stress. Maybe it means that you could give more. Maybe it means you could travel with your family. Maybe it means you could see your grandbabies in another state. Maybe it means less marital issues because you're not arguing about being in debt, right? Anybody not ready? Okay, number 6, you guys are doing great. Again, ask yourself a why question based on that answer and write it down. Example, why is concentrating on the moment and family important? Because you've missed out on a lot of time. You could have been with them. Maybe your babies are getting older and you're realizing you only have a few more years at home. Maybe you and your husband are crossing paths because you work so many hours. Maybe you'd like to decide your schedule instead of somebody else always telling you when you needed to work, when you got to take a vacation, when you could take a sick day. All right, you have 2 more why questions, you guys. Who feels like they're there already? Who feels like they could dig more? Okay, we'll raise our hands. Who feels like they're there already? Okay, keep those hands up. Okay, who feels like they could dig more? Okay, we're going to do one more. All right, look at your last question, you guys. Look at your questions before that. Are any of them repeating themselves? Are you digging deep enough? Ask yourself a why question based on your last answer. Why is blank important? What did you write down? What would that mean for your family? What would that mean for you? What would that mean for the other people in your life? Who could you bless? Who could you bring home? Who could you be with more? Who could you be with less? Okay, I hope that whatever you have written down on number, I think we went to number 6, on number 6 feels a lot bigger to you than what you wrote down in number 1. Who says that they relate to that more or connect to that more than they did in number 1? Whose number 6 feels bigger than number 1? Yeah. Okay, you can see in the example on the page, the initial why of financial freedom was not really the true why. It was, but there was so much more than that. The true why was because that person wanted to spend more time with their family and they wanted the opportunity to invest in their kids' lives. That hits you in the feels, right? When we think about how much time we actually have with our kiddos, how many hours we actually get with our kiddos before they're gone. So, a couple of reflection things that you guys can do as we get off this call. I would encourage you to do it immediately as we get off this call, as you're sitting down, as you're already thinking about things. Write down your initial why on a new piece of paper and write down your true why. What surfaced at the 7th level? Maybe you only made it to level 4 and you felt like that was your big why. That's great. Sometimes we're already thinking in that direction, okay? If you've already been in some of these trainings, if you've already sat through this with somebody, that's okay. We don't have to get all the level 7s. But now we want to apply that. How will knowing your true why affect how you run your business? Now that you've connected with this, how will it impact what you do on a daily basis? How will it impact the priority that you put on the time that you spend? How will it impact who you choose to spend your time with, what you choose to spend your time doing? And then the last question, write 3 ways in which you will change your business based on knowing your true why. This isn't legalistic, guys. If you can only come up with one way, that is great. The idea is that whenever we sit through any sort of training or we do any sort of personal development, that we really have like a 48 to 72 hour window to implement what we've learned before it's just gone. Okay, so I would encourage you to really think through those 3 ways. Does anybody have something they want to share? Maybe you feel like there was a huge difference. You'd love to share an example of what your initial why was and what your real why is. Or maybe you can quickly recognize a way that you would do something different. Anybody? It's okay. You don't have to be scared. Anybody want to share?
I'll do mine, Erin.
Thanks, Becca.
Okay. So basically, and I'll be honest with y'all, I've got this on my wall in my office downstairs. My goal for the first answer is to walk across that stage at convention in 2020 as a silver. And part of it, the first part, the big part of it was for the financial freedom. But then that kind of changed into more of, it evolved into like being able to go, like we do have the opportunities to go places and travel, but then there's still that kind of aspect of, okay, we spent way too much money this month. Now next month we gotta like cut way back on stuff, so we don't like completely go in debt because we went on vacation. So, just getting to travel more, without having to worry about if we did spend too much. I'm not saying like, oh, hey, let's just go ahead and blow all our money. But, even if we, spend just a little bit more than what we planned, then, it would be okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Becca. I can share mine with you guys. So my initial goal is to grow consistently in the coming years. As we've been doing this for a while, I know that consistent growth is where it's at. Like, we know that we're going to be a diamond team one day, and that just means we're going to keep doing the things and loving on the people and showing up when it looks good and when it's hard and when it's fun. So that's my goal, is to just keep growing, keep doing the things. And then whenever I worked through that, in the end, like, we owe the Army a lot of time. And, Caleb went to Harvard last year and the Army paid for that. And so we owe the Army a lot of years to pay for that back. And I think now, having a couple kiddos and realizing what that means to be in the Army for 10 more years means like inevitably lots of time away. That's what is in our future. And so the idea that when we get to a certain point, I could pay the Army back what they paid for his school, and then we have the choice. It's in our, then it's in our hands, and we have the freedom to say, like, okay, maybe God wants us to keep doing this thing, or we have the freedom to say, I can be home with my family and I can do something different. And that means the world to me. That will keep me showing up when it's hard. Like, that's huge, right? Like, that means so much more than like growing my business consistently. That means something to me because I know the value in that, but the why at the end that makes you emotional is what you're going to connect with. So now you have this tool to use. Maybe you need to go through it quarterly. Maybe you need to go through it yearly. Maybe you have a buddy, a team member that you want to walk through it with. I'd love for you guys to use this tool and let me know how it's helping you. I'd love for you, after this call, if you want to shoot me like your original goal and what you came up with at the end, so that I can encourage you and walk with you in that. I'd love to do that too. We have just a few minutes left on our time. Does anybody have anything they want to share or add for the night, or any questions before we gear up for Black Friday? I'm excited. Okay, you guys are so quiet tonight, but know that y'all are loved. Thanks for showing up, and let me know if I could do anything for you this week. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. Thankful for y'all. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.